you hear a lot of pushback from the Catholic Church that Luther um, was it was a novel concept that Luther was a proud man, that he wanted to split the church, and that he basically he didn't like how things, he just wanted to have his own way. So can you go into a little bit about how did Luther really intend to cause a split in the church? Because we hear all the time, oh, well, you know, who's the founder of your church? Well, Luther's the founder of your church, or Calvin is, or John Knox, or whoever it may be. And this is, but oh, Christ is our founder, or Peter, right? So how would you say that? How would you go about explaining that Luther did not intend for a split from the church and to like create his own new church or whatever?
Right. So I think in some ways it kind of really goes back to the nature of the conversation that was going on at the time.
Mhm.
So you had mentioned Luther's Tower experience. I think that was like 1519. A couple of years before that, of 1517 is Luther's posting of the 95 Theses on the
Mhm.
Catholic Church door at Wittenberg.
Right.
And it's interesting because the way we tend to look back on that today is like this was this kind of like big defiant act,
Mhm.
right? But really what it was is this is the way that they would present things for public debate.
Like a bulletin
Uh,
board, kind of.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah, it was the town bulletin board, and there's not even there's even a question of whether Luther himself was the one to actually put these theses up or whether it was someone else. But either way, it wasn't something like that was like this grand ceremony.
Mhm.
It was just, hey, here are some things that I want to talk about. And I think the other interesting thing is from a Lutheran perspective, um, most of the 95 Theses are bad theology.
Mm.
Uh, right?
Yeah.
That Luther at this point is very much not a Lutheran yet
Mm.
in the sense that we know Lutheran theology today.
Right.
He was, I think, raising some good questions, making some good points, but he still had a lot of errors in the 95 Theses. And so even
Mm.
the theses themselves were not, um, sort of this grand kind of statement themselves. But the main thing that the church objected to was Luther's main objection in these theses, which was the church should not be selling forgiveness.
Mm.
Right. And
Yeah.
so the problem there, wasn't so much the theology that Luther had, because there were others in the Catholic Church who had some of these same questions, and there was some of these other conversations that were previously going on,
Mm.
but Luther was hitting them in the pocketbook.
Right.
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 They said, okay, this is really an issue for us. I mean, even early on, Luther had this great idea that, oh, well, if I only tell the Pope about all these terrible things that are going on, then the Pope can fix this.
Mm.
And he didn't realize that this was the same theology that the Pope also held to.
Right.
Um, and so it was really a matter of addressing these things that had gotten in the way of the gospel.
Hmm.
And so Luther really does not at all intend to start a new church. He simply wants to restore the gospel to its place of prominence.
Hmm.
And then even in the end, right, or as if you kind of follow the history, Luther did not, technically himself leave the Catholic Church as much as he was thrown out.
Hmm.
And I mean, kind of thing tends to happen when you are um, tagged a heretic and there's a price on your head.
Mm. Excurge
Um,
Domine, the papal bull,
right,
and then he burned it.
right,
Yeah.
right. Because he said this papal bull is actually not in accord with God's word,
Mm.
so it's not lawful.
Right.
I don't have to listen to it.